All right. Got a big topic to talk about this evening. uh what's going on, everybody? RUA. So the Falcons fall to the Steelers 19-16 Mercedes-Benz Stadium today, this afternoon. And the biggest question coming out of this game, it's in the title, and we're going to discuss it. I'm going to put in my opinion, and obviously this is a free speech channel. I want to know what everyone else, particularly Falcons fans, opinion is. Is it time to start Desmond Ridder? The StreamYard link is there. Anyone wants to come in, you're more than welcome to. I'll talk about it, and then if anyone wants to come and voice their opinion, they can. So, talking about this game, first off, the Falcons fall to the Steelers 19-16. This was another very winnable game for the Falcons that they just had to let slip through. Now, did we lose particularly in a way, compared to other ways the Falcons have found to lost? Was this, the most eye-popping loss of how we lost? No, but this was a game we easily could have won. First of all, and we can talk about that, if the season's over or not, and what Ridder put what putting Ridder in would mean about where the season is. However, talking about this game, this isn't really, to me, I know to other people, obviously it is. There's been some losses this year I've just been crushed about. Like, I haven't even want to come on here and really, and I didn't. The New Orleans game, the Chargers game, those are two games we easily should have won. Last week, really had me down. Because those were games we could have easily won, and we could have easily won this game, but I'm not necessarily down about it because we were down, I believe, 19-6 at some point in the third quarter. So we came back, we made it a game, but we couldn't pull through. And there's many spots you can look at and say, we did not. We did not get it going at all in the first half. And you know what? Maybe some of that has to contribute to we won the coin toss and we deferred it, and it seems like tell me the 5 games we should have won. I know what they are, but tell me what they are. You can tell me the 5 games we should have won. I can remember, 2 or 3, but 5, that's kind of stretching it. But talking about today's game, you start off, Pittsburgh just dominates the first half. They dominate time of possession. Their opening drive lasted nearly half the first quarter. And, that's what we like to do. So, really, maybe it all goes back to we should have received instead of deferred. Maybe, Pittsburgh was able to set momentum. And really, they let up, but, they did enough to pull out the victory. And obviously, these aren't the same Steelers teams we've seen in years past, but, Kenny Pickett, he came in and all things considered, he made some rookie mistakes, but had an all right game. The Falcons, they did not try to get it going through the ground, tried to do it through the air, and it worked somewhat, but at the end of the day, this is what we're going to talk about, why we're having this discussion. Marcus Mariota, we see what he is. And I want to thank Marcus Mariota for all that he's done for this team, in this season. This was a season we could have easily. Those were all games we should have won, but we didn't. Saints game we should have won. There's no excuse. We had a 16-point, I'll say it, 26-10, because I don't give a shit. They can hold on to that shit all day until 2 weeks from now when they're going to shut the fuck up about it. But yeah, We had a 26-10 lead. Chargers game. We had the game right in our fucking hands. But fucking 95 Taquan Graham picked up the football, was about to become the guy to make the big play to keep us in the game, or potentially, set us up to win that game. But he fumbled the fucking football. It's like he had no sense of that ball. The Redskins game, yeah. The Steelers game we could have won, but we didn't play that scenario all day. At the end of the day, should we have won some of those games? Yeah. But you also got to look and say, is it impressive that we've been in every game? Yes. However, you can't go out and say would have won every single one of those games. You're just going off of the two games we definitely should have won were the Chargers and Saints game. That's, I think, obvious. And that Panthers game in Charlotte. That's the three games I'll give us. But, we've been in every game, but it comes down to the fact the Falcons have had this issue for years, which, kind of goes to the other side of the discussion as to why maybe we shouldn't bench Marcus Mariota. Now, I'll throw my opinion. In now. It has ran its course with Marcus Mariota. I want to thank him for all that he's done this season. He has definitely, nonetheless, given Falcons fans reason to believe. We had a 4-4 lead. We were 4-4, and we led the division for a week with him, which you look and say is pretty fucking insane, considering that the expectation was 2 wins the entire year, and we're guaranteed to get at least 5. And I think we can get at least at the very, very least 1 more. I think 2 more wins. I think we can definitely have. And you don't know, maybe more than that. So here's what I'm gonna say. I think we're gonna look back at Marcus Mariota's time in Atlanta and say it wasn't the ideal situation. He wasn't the ideal quarterback. He had his bumps along the way, but he also had some great moments. The game against Carolina, yeah, he had the 2 turnovers, but also he was one of the reasons why we won the game. The 49ers game, he played basically as perfect as you can get in that game. The Saints game, even though we lost that game, and we look and say, and he had the fumble at the end, if he doesn't have that fumble, we win that game. You're looking at that game and saying, he had a great game. He has put this team in situations for close games, but you can be in a close game all day. If you can't finish it out, that is all that matters. And we are having the same issues we have had for forever. We're not closing out games. Now, who knows if Desmond Ridder can be the change to that or not? Who knows? Every single team has 1 or 2 games a year that you look and say you could have won the game if stuff went different, but they don't. And that happens. Well, with the Falcons, it's like it's happening at least every other week, which is an issue. It's happened 2 straight weeks now where you look and say, we had opportunities to win, but we didn't. We couldn't get the ground game going at all in the first half today. That's one of the other issues. We decided we were going to set our ground game up in the second half. We started playing the game in midway through the third quarter, and yeah, other teams are able to do it on us, but we can't do it. That's the issue. We have to play 60 minutes of football to win. That is the issue. And back to Marcus Mariota, I think you got to appreciate what he's done. but it has ran its course. He's been figured out. He cannot push the ball downfield through the air. He does pretty good with his legs. However, here's one thing you got to look and say. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Justin Fields. He's not Jalen Hurts running the football. He can get you 10 or 15 yards on the ground, but you get him in a third and long situation, the drive is going to stall. That we see what we have in him, which is why, in my personal opinion, it's time to put Desmond Ridder in. It has ran its course. The bye week is coming up. It's time, I think, for the final 4 games, whether here's the big thing. Now, I'm not saying he will. He probably won't in terms of making a final push at the playoffs. Desmond Ridder could be the spark this team needs. However, I don't think it's necessarily for this year. Slida, if you want to come in, you can. Anyone else wants to come in, they can. It's time to put Ridder in. It's ran its course with Mariota. We have 4 games left. Whether you're looking for a spark for these final 4 games or you're just looking to see what he can do, it's time to put him in. Now, I understand that we're definitely still in this division race, particularly if Tampa Bay loses tomorrow night. However, I'll say this. All right, Salita, appreciate you coming through. Here's what I'll say. You have to see what Desmond Ridder can do. I understand you have hope in a shitty division, but you got to think long term. I also believe you're really looking at both mantles, and you're saying, are you looking for a spark potentially that can light the fire for your team for this final stretch, potentially? And more so, you want to see what he can do. Now, can Desmond Ridder push the ball downfield through the air in the NFL? We don't know. Can Desmond Ridder, I think Desmond Ridder, he has fresher wheels on him than Mariota. I think, we're seeing what Mariota can do with the read option and all this. I think Ridder, he can even be more electric with it. I think when it comes through the air, I think he definitely could have some growing pains. However, you have to look and you have to say that it's time to put the kid in and see what he can do. So that's my personal opinion on it. If any other Falcons fans or anyone else wants to come in, you're more than welcome to. Look, if someone feels like Mariota should stay in the final 4 games. Now, here's the thing. My opinion only matters to me at the end of the day. My opinion probably doesn't even matter to anyone else, although you probably do have the same opinion as me. But our opinion definitely don't matter to Arthur Smith. We have to remember that. Arthur Smith and whoever else is advising him with the decision of who to start at quarterback coming out of the bye. We also have to think, coming out of the bye, we got one of our 2 biggest games of the season, and that's against the New Orleans Saints. And this game is particularly big because it still does have implications for the division. But number 2, this is the New Orleans Saints, the Aints. This is our biggest rival. Yeah, get these fucking accounts. I don't even get why these fucking accounts are on YouTube. But anyways, this is your biggest rival, one of your 2 biggest games of the year. And if you want to go with the experience and you want to go safe, and that's what they decide to do, Mariota will probably stay in. Now, do I think he should? No, I don't. I think we need a spark. And how big would it be, at least to me, and really to the entire fan base, if Desmond Ridder was able to come in against New Orleans, his first career start, ball out, and the Falcons win in New Orleans? That would be insane. And it would be great for this kid's confidence. Now, will it happen? Who knows? However, you have to look and say that this is a big game coming up. But then you would look and say, well, shouldn't you just keep Mariota in? But then you also got to look at the other handle and say, you're looking for a spark. You know what you have in Mariota. Does Mariota right now? Chess Hall, congrats. UGA going to be the back-to-back national champions, it looks like. Alabama didn't get in. It's all right. You're not really an NFL guy, but, your opinion, you can voice your opinion over here. You say give Ridder a chance. You know what? I'm hearing what you're saying. I kind of have the same opinion as you. Congrats. Georgia probably going to be back-to-back national champions. Anyways. You have to get a spark, but more so you have to see what this kid can do. Is there going to be growing pains? Yes. But you have 4 games left. And you have to realistically look and say, this team wasn't expected to do anything. Now, do I want to win? Absolutely. If there is still a scenario, which I think if the Falcons were to win out, I'm not saying they will, but I think if the Falcons were to win out, I'm looking at Tampa Bay's schedule. I don't think they're beating the 49ers next week. And I don't think they're beating New Orleans tomorrow. Tampa Bay loses those 2 games and we're able to win out. We would win the division. That's the thing everyone has to look at. Obviously, barring Carolina wins out, which I don't think they will. So, yes, we are still in it, but you have to get a spark. You know what Mariota is. And here's the thing. It's the wheels. No, they're not going to completely fall off. It's just like they're going to slowly, it's like they're going to start treading, and then like your rim, it's going to slowly start to come off just over these last 4 games. It's going to be all right. We can go in, we might have a chance, but we ain't going to make it to the finish line. So at the end of the day, you don't know what you got with this, with Desmond Ridder, this car that you just have sitting in your garage. You don't know what to expect out of it. You're nervous to drive it. But hey, Arthur Smith, see what this kid is. You don't know if he's the next Tim Couch or if he's going to come off the bench being Patrick Mahomes. Now, what he would be, I think, is somewhere in between that. I think you'll get you'll have upgraded wheels from what you have with Mariota and Desmond Ridder. I think he can run the ball better than Mariota. And we've seen Mariota can run the ball pretty damn well. And what you want to do with running the football, if that's what you have in Desmond Ridder, then great. Now, then you ask, well, maybe why aren't you putting Ridder in? Here's the thing. Even on like Wildcat stuff, here's the thing. Now, I can understand maybe that question, maybe why you haven't done it just to get him the experience. Here's the big thing. Once we put Ridder in, I feel as if you have to keep him in. At least if you put him in for these final 4 games, he's starting the final 4 games, unless obviously he gets injured. So he's in. And if if he's awful and we lose these final 4 games, then guess what? And you feel like, he's not going to be the answer, then, you go out and you get another quarterback this offseason, whether it's free agency or the draft. But I really do honestly think Desmond Ridder is going to be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons next year. I feel like that's what we are going to do. As far as this offseason goes, with all the money we have, you have to go out. You have to build the trenches. You have to get a edge rusher. You have to get some more depth in the secondary. Go out, get another receiver. Draft, you want to do best player available in the draft, great. But particularly look at your edge rushers, look at your nose tackles. This is a draft that I'd say is pretty loaded with edge rushers and defensive linemen, so I think you particularly have to look at that. As far as these final 4 games go, it's ran its course with Mariota, and I'm honestly getting to the point where I want to win the division, but it's also, first off, I'm looking for a spark. Second off, I'm looking for what we have for the future. And this is the transition period for this team. After 14 years with Matt Ryan, and we have Marcus Mariota come in first 13 games, great. I've been behind Mariota. I've been saying, look, I've been sticking behind Mariota. I've been saying, he's my starter. But after today, you really open up to the bigger picture and you say, this is a game. We looked at this. I looked at this stretch about week 7, week 8, week 6. I looked at the stretch and said, from Carolina all the way to this game, I looked and said, the Panthers, Chargers, Carolina again, Charlotte on Thursday night, the Bears, Washington, Pittsburgh. You should win 5 out of, at very least, you should win 3 out of, I think I more said 4 out of 6 of those games. Yeah. 4 out of 6 of those games should be wins. Maybe you get a hiccup in one or two of those games. But 4 of those games should be wins. Let's think about it. We've won 2 of those games. Carolina, we basically won off of a miracle. The Chargers, we lost in pretty embarrassing fashion. We did not show up to play at all against the Panthers on Thursday night. We had a nice win against the Bears. Okay, we played pretty well in the second half. But still, that was a close win. But the Bears also, even though they weren't showing it in the win-loss column, they were playing pretty well on the field at the time. So that's an all right win. But these last 2 weeks have been absolutely crushing. Against Washington, against Pittsburgh. At this point, I'm looking for anything. What I'm particularly going to say is we're now on our bye week, and our next game in 2 weeks is against the team I hate the most, and the team, I don't care what happens. I just want those 2 games against the Saints, I want them to be wins. I don't care how the hell you do it. I don't care if you win the fucking game 2-0. I don't care if you win the game 50-0, 23-21. I don't care what the fucking score is. As long as we have more points than the Aints at the end of the game and we are in the win column for that game, that is all I care about. If you put, whether it's Mariota or whether it's Ridder, I want to see this team go out and smack the Aints in the mouth. Personally, Mariota, him getting revenge for week 1. All right, cool. But you know what I want? I want to see this kid go out. I want to see him get that big win in New Orleans. And I want to see that confidence go up for him. Now, whether it happens or it doesn't, who knows? But that's my big opinion on it. But for the next 2 weeks, tomorrow night, I don't know really who to root for necessarily, but especially come Tuesday morning, it's always fuck the Yankees, let's be honest, but we're going really hard at it. It's full-blown war against these two fan bases. I'm sorry, but my world pretty much fucking stops when we're playing New Orleans. It's the Falcons and it's the Saints. I don't care what the fuck else is going on. Deal with your other bullshit. I'll come in. I'll deal with it after that game. It's the Falcons. It's the Saints. So, fuck the Aints. I hope we smack the absolute shit out of them. But yeah. So, but it was not a good game one bit. I mean, it's always miserable for us to lose. But, this brings on a big discussion we have to have about this team and its future. So, yeah, I mean, it's, when you're having these type of periods, this is what really tests your fanhood. You have your different opinions, but at the end of the day, I want to see this team win. We're still in it. 5-8, most teams, their season's pretty much done with how horrible the NFC South is. And I do think the Saints will win on tomorrow night. I do, because New Orleans always seems to do well with Tampa on those prime time games in Tampa. Kind of weird, but the Saints do seem to do well in those games against the Bucs. So I think the Saints will win. Now, it'll put us below them division-wise because of that tiebreaker, but it's all right. It's all right. Because we'll be above them after that game. We're going to kick the shit out of them. I'm really feeling it. I think we should kick the shit out of New Orleans in a couple weeks. And Carolina, all right, cool. Fucking, you can sit there and think you have a chance, You really don't. You're going to lose to Seattle next week. You might get another win this year. You might not. So, but, it's all about, building for the future for the Falcons. And the big part of that future could be Desmond Ridder. And I think it's time to see what Desmond Ridder can do. You've had 13 games, 14 weeks to sit behind and learn. Take advice from Mariota. See what Mariota has done that you should not do on the field, like overthrowing your receivers. And it's time for you to go out there and ball out. Let's see what you got, kid. That's what my opinion is. It's time to see what this kid that, has for the past 7 months, has been one of the big discussions throughout this organization. He had a up and down preseason. Obviously, preseason, that don't mean shit because you're going up against people on your same level. He had up and down play, but he's had 13 games, 14 weeks to develop. So we're going to see what he can do. We're going to see how he's matured. He definitely, I think, has a lot of upside from his time at Cincinnati. But this is the NFL. This is where the big boys come to play. So we're going to see if Desmond Ridder can hang. And I think he can. I think it's all going to come down to, I think it's all just going to, at the end of the day, have to come down to, we're going to have to take our growing pains with him. But, I still feel like nonetheless, we're going to have an opportunity, if nothing more, to finish out the season somewhat on a strong note. I feel like that's what it's all about. Whether we make the playoffs or we don't, I obviously hope we do. I want to go out and win every single one of those games. And I'll say this. I might sound like a little bit of a homer here. You can think that. I think realistically, we can beat New Orleans. And I think, honestly, we can beat Arizona. I think we should beat Arizona. And I think we can beat Baltimore. I really do. I think that Baltimore is winning these games really ugly. They won in very ugly fashion. And Lamar Jackson, he went down today. So you don't know what that situation is going to be. Now, I'll say their backup, I feel like definitely is capable. So we'll see. But I feel like, we were looking and saying that might be a blowout. Who knows? I still think we probably end up losing that game. But I don't know. That's the big thing. I don't know. We could end up winning that game. Against the Cardinals, I think we should win that game. And then Tampa Bay, it's who knows? Let's just wait and see how it plays out. But we hung with the Bucs the first time. So, whether it's Ridder or it's Mariota, we'll just have to see how it all plays out. So, the StreamYard link is right there if anyone wants to jump in on the conversation. I think it's time to see what Ridder can do. I'll say that. If you feel like it's still Mariota's job, you feel like it should stay that way the final 4 games, or maybe until we're officially knocked out of playoff contention, that's fine. But, with where this division is, we might stay in contention until the second to last week of the year. So, yeah, we ain't getting knocked out next week. It's so you're putting Ridder in, you're relying, whether it's you're relying on him to be that spark, or you just want to see what you have in the future. I want to win. That's what it's all about. Every Falcons fan should want to see this team win. At the end of the day, for me, it's all about winning. And whenever this team loses, I feel like shit. Whenever this team wins, couldn't be more happy. Whether it's an ugly win or whether it's a perfect win, whether it's a loss that feels like a moral victory, which those I don't really think they can happen, or it's an ugly loss. It's a win is a win, a loss is a loss. So, but yeah, that's just my opinion on it. The bye week, I do feel like in a way, it is kind of hard because the Falcons, I have to now wait pretty much 2 weeks to see them play again. So, but on another aspect, we've been doing this for 13 straight weeks. So you kind of want a little bit of a breather. Got some other stuff going on right now. So, take a little bit of a breather, from the Falcons. But also, I'm all focused on the Aints right now. That's what I'm focused on the Aints. And who's my quarterback while doing it? I personally hope it's Desmond Ridder. But, hey, I'll say this. If it's Mariota, even though, I definitely feel like it's stale with him at this point, I want him to go out. I want this, if it is Mariota, I hope this talk of Ridder potentially coming in lights a fire under him. He goes out and he plays great against the Aints. And I hope we get that victory. We've won the last 2 out of 3 times in New Orleans. Looking to make it 3 out of 4. So, But yeah, that's pretty much it. If no one wants to come on, uh, it's going to be interesting to see what the Falcons do here. Bye week coming up, get some rest, go out for these final 4 games, finish out strong, and the playoffs are not dead. It might be a slim chance, but it's a chance. And, as that window opens more and more for the playoffs, we got to, seize our opportunity if it does come. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about finishing out strong. So, anyways, it's fuck the Aints. After tomorrow, I might put a little something out this week, but definitely I'll be full force at it the following week. But anyways, that's it. Rise up, and I'm out.